you see is extracted from that data. Out of 1,000 born at that time, 10% were projected to die by age 45. Now, out of the remaining 900, 25% would die by age 65. So 75% were expected to die after 65. So it's evident that most of the deaths occurred after this. Now let's take time out here and examine where this weird idea of age 65 came from. The idea of retirement is a relatively recent concept. Nowhere to any degree in history is the word even mentioned. I've studied the Bible through and through for many years, and I can't find anywhere that, and so Moses retired and lived happily thereafter. Basically, the idea started in Germany in 1890 by Bismarck. Now, these are the folks that gave the world the idea of Social Security. Now, the whole idea, folks, was to get the old folks out of the workforce to make room for the young folks, because there just aren't but so many jobs to go around. You see, socialists have no imagination at all. Bill Gates and Sam Walton would boggle his mind. So he set retirement age, folks, at 70. Yeah. He set retirement age at 70. Now, in 1916, we're in the midst of World War I, aren't we? He reduced it to 65. Now, in 1890, life expectancy for Germans was about 45, so you see, it was probable you'd never elect. Anyway, this is where Roosevelt, FDR, got age 65 for our Social Security in 1937. At that time, life expectancy of American males was about 61 years. What is it today? 78. And we have people that talk about retiring at age 65 or even less. Get real. It can't happen. I've read predictions of living to age 120 is possible due to increased life expectancy. So life insurance companies now have policy plans of life paid up at 121 years in view of this possibility. But yet there are people who hope to, quote, retire early, say age 55 or so. I'm going to work for 30 years and retire for 50 years. Get real. There's no way. Now, I've read studies where it'll take 80% of my grandchildren's income to supply Social Security at the present level to their parents' generation. That's impossible. No way. It won't work. Furthermore, I drew up the following scenario over 30 years ago. No one had the courage to repeat it. Now, I emailed this scenario to Neil Boyd's talk show also in Atlanta 3 times before he finally did something about it. Now, don't y'all pick on Neil, because a talk show host gets thousands of emails per day. Now, those of you who have listened to Neil know that his sidekick on the show is Royal Marshall, a black guy. Remember that, okay? You ready for the scenario? There were 3 men born the same day. One was Caucasian, one was Hispanic, one was black. They all had similar jobs during their lifetime. They all paid maximum in the Social Security. They all achieved retirement age. They all drew their first check. But would you believe it, the next month the black guy died? Do you know it's a statistical fact blacks do not live as long as Caucasians and Hispanics? And did you know that those Japanese guys outlive us white guys almost 10 years? And do you know you can pass all the laws you want to, you cannot change that fact. Now, the next month, the black guy's widow dies. How many times have y'all seen one spouse die and the survivor dies shortly thereafter? The stories are out there everywhere. I was in Westchester County, New York, about 8 or 9 years ago. In a village not far away, there was a story about the widow at the funeral home shopping for the coffin for a deceased husband the day before. She died at the funeral home. Got a 2-for-1 deal. Now, can you tell me what happened to all the money that the black guy paid the Social Security during his lifetime? Yeah? Oh, it doesn't exist. The money has been spent. There is no such thing as money in a trust fund. Now, up until just very recently, when you make payments for Social Security, folks, you did not make to Social Security, it's made to the U.S. Treasury. Now, money coming in goes to current recipients. Anything left over goes to the trust fund. Lie. That money is immediately spent, just like everything else, and worthless IOUs were put in a file in a cave in West Virginia, saying we're going to collect that from future generations ahead of us. Now, we're past that point, folks. It was forecast that several years down the road, the income from Social Security would be less than the outgo. We're already there. We've been there several months now. It won't work. Now, the next month, the Hispanic guy dies. And the month after that, his widow dies. Now, tell me what happened to all his money. Same thing. But, you know, to my joy, Neil Boortz added another element to my story that I hadn't thought of. He turns to his black compadre, Royal Marshall, and said, Royal, do you know that under this present system that we have, your money you're paying to Social Security is going to that little blue-haired white lady? Can you imagine Royal Marshall's reaction? He went ballistic, and rightly so. If I was a black guy, I'd be up there in Washington choking them, say, cut that abominable idea out. You see, there's always the law of unintended consequences that bureaucrats never consider. They come up with these great and glorious ideas of man trying to play God, and it always turns around and bites them. You think we'll ever learn? Those things will never work. It's impossible for them to do so. And so, when since World War II, there's been the accelerating emphasis on tax-qualified plans. You know, I've been around the life insurance business for 45 years, and I've just heard that day in and day out. Everywhere you go, people talk about tax-qualified retirement plans. The contributions have to be put to work in investments of some kind. In the very recent years, the emphasis has been on 401ks, defined contribution plans, as opposed to the original pension plans, defined benefit plans, that have disappeared from the scene. What has been the universally recommended investment for those contributions, please? Why, stocks, of course. Mutual funds, of course. They always go up. Try reading The Brainwashing of an American Investor by Stephen Seligman. Read Eat the Rich by P.J. O'Rourke. Read Devil Take the Hindmost by Ed Chancellor. Read Inventing Money by Nicholas Dunbar. These books would be a good start in understanding the lies that people believe and upon which they base their financial future. By the way, stocks are often referred to as securities. I don't see anything that was secure about Enron, WorldCom, and HealthSouth about long-term capital management, etc.